Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Wendy Sellers here, the HR lady. I am so excited about our guest today. We're going to be talking about, strategies to break subconscious beliefs. Oof, I think I need this myself. So welcome to the show, Giovanni Maccarrone. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you, Wendy. Excited for today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for your time today. And tell our listeners before we jump in, tell our listeners about yourself. How did you get to where you are now?
Perfect. So since I was little, every time me, my mom, and my sister went out to bookstores, the library, they'd always find little Giovanni in the self-help section. I'd, I'd always be looking for, how to feel better, how to train my mind. And I was little, and even teachers, they'd be writing on the board, and I'd be analyzing their body language and their communication style and all the things that I thought I shouldn't be focusing on. But I guess that built what I'm able to do today. So I got into my business over a decade ago. And the idea was to inspire people, to show people that you could actually be who you want. You could be yourself and get the results you want in life and live your life. And it was like, self-esteem and confidence and wherever you could get unstuck. And what I noticed is clients started getting results in areas that aren't even my specialty, like
Wow.
career and business. Yeah. Right.
I
So I
love
had a
it.
client that went from making $55,000 a year to $85,000 a year.
Nice.
Yes. And then a sales agent, she came in, she makes good money for Canadian standards anyway. She makes good money. With coaching or with consulting, she now makes over $100,000 more per year. And then again, remember, we don't even talk too much about career or business because that's not my specialty. So I stopped and I thought, what am I doing with their mindset that's helping them get these big results in areas that, again, aren't even my specialty? And I broke it down. So what I'm doing now is I'm connecting with companies and saying I have a keynote speech where I show how to decrease burnout and costly turnover, the mindset, how to increase leadership, self-drive, and sustainable performance. And then I think where I really shine, or shine in different ways, the one-on-one consulting, where I work one-on-one with clients and they know what to do. They have the expertise, they have the know-how, but they're not executing consistently. Why is that? I figure that out. I break the pattern, and they could express easily.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's just dive in. I have a statistic here from Gallup, State of the Global Workplace in 2025, and it was about burnout. And it's saying that burnout is becoming a chronic state for high performers. And that 67% of all workers reported experiencing burnout in early 2026, which is a way bigger increase from all the way, say, 2021. 67%, that is a lot. So we see like many leaders who they're high performers. They hit every milestone, regardless of their title, their revenue. Yet they describe feeling burnt out, that they're like running on an invisible treadmill. So how does this internal connection between outward success and inner alignment act as the primary yet very silent driver of executive and leadership burnout?
For sure. So a lot of times companies order, new leadership training or new strategies, new external, like the mechanics. But 80% of success is your mindset. So what's happening, and I think especially in American culture, but I mean, this is all over as well. We have 6 human needs. One of them is significance, to feel special, needed, wanted. Like we have like what we do has meaning, like we're special, like we have meaning. And another need is the need for love and connection. To feel love and connected within ourselves and other people as well. So love and connection is, I believe, our deepest need. But most people try to get that by being significant first. If I'm special, if I'm an achiever, if I make a lot of money, if I dress a certain way, if I act a certain way, then people can't love but help me, or people can't help but love me. Right? So I think that's the most common pattern in the world amongst humans. Try to be significant to get love and connection. So sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So what you see,
I'm leaning into this. I'm
I can
leaning
see
way in. I'm like,
that.
whoa, this is like mind blowing and so true.
Yes, 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 of course. So again, this is all around the world, and I'm saying this is more. So in what they do in the States, the American culture is the achiever culture, right? And that's awesome because you guys achieve. You guys make things happen. You could do it. You could move forward. But the thing is, when you tie that with how important you are and your love, that's where the burnout happens. So we didn't go through stages of life. In your 20s, woo, like you're going, you have the energy, guys have testosterone and they're going into, their first corporate job or Wall Street or whatever it is, and they're achieving, they're making money. Great. And their 30s, they're doing that as well. They're more building their family as well, but still, I'm going up higher in the ranks. I still feel good about myself. Usually people around their 40s, they start saying, I feel empty now
Hmm.
because what I really want is love and connection, and I'm not getting it. And I've been doing this for many, many years, and I'm not getting it.
Wow.
Yeah,
And this is, I think, where it also comes into mind. And for our listeners, just to let you know, Giovanni's from the Greater Toronto area in Canada, so that's why I was referring to U.S. as
right.
something different. And it's also just so similar that like we're right next to each other, but things can be
Yeah.
so different. I was
Yes.
reading another study from it was an employee mindset study of last year, and said that 1 in 3 employees still reports feeling isolated and disconnect it from their organization's mission and then therefore their own purpose. And ta-da, this is exactly what you're talking about, is about not just feeling the need to feel special, but to have this, loving connection, or just in the workplace, a caring connection, right?
Yes, exactly. So people feel lonely. Number one, maybe they don't feel cared for, but I think what you said is they're not in alignment with
Yeah.
the organizations. And the way you just said, yeah, it's like I'm sure you have
Yep.
many examples in your head. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's pretty much what my life revolves around, is getting employees engaged. But sometimes we have to rip that band-aid off and say, well, we got to get our managers engaged first, and we got to get our managers trained on how we want them to behave in the workplace so that we can get engaged employees so that they will be productive. And ta-da, we all meet our goals and go home happy. We wish it was that easy. Let's
Right.
talk about, something that you focus on, which is the subconscious ceiling. As a coach, you work on breaking subconscious beliefs. From a performance standpoint, we often see, as you mentioned, professionals, usually of a certain age, hitting a ceiling that they can't explain. How do these hidden beliefs, like I'm only as good as my last win, how do they sabotage self-drive and lead to costly turnover?
Good. So the thing is, there is no ceiling, but people hit a ceiling, right? And you know this too. And it's because of mindset, certain subconscious beliefs. When you said, I'm only as good as my last win, that's significance talking again. What they're
Yeah.
saying is, I've been trying to go after significance all these years, and it's not working. And then the energy starts going down, their motivation starts like they don't. What's even the use? And that makes sense. You shouldn't be chasing something you can never win at. So
Hmm.
that's when they start doing status quo. Their mind gets like closed-minded, right? Because why would you put energy into something that you haven't gained the results, and you probably won't get the results, and you won't. So why would you do that? So people start decreasing their energy, decreasing their view, decreasing everything subconsciously, and then they're going, why is my performance stagnating, or why is it dropping? Okay, that's one. Another need is a need for certainty, to have a certain amount of security. You have food on the table, money in the bank, your job is at least stable enough. um, at the beginning of a founder's journey, they usually have little certainty. So they're growing, their mind is open, they're learning, they're growing, they're trying stuff, they're doing things. If something doesn't work, they do something else. If that doesn't work, they do something else. If that doesn't work, they do something else. But once they get to a certain level of certainty, now they want to hold on to it. And the growth, that's another need. The growth that drove them all this time is not there anymore. They push it down because now they want to maintain what they have. They don't want to lose what they have, basically. So
Hmm.
another ceiling is when people say, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Keep going.
So when people say there's a ceiling, another mindset is before they were valuing growth, and now they're overvaluing uncertainty. So what you do with that person is you break that pattern and show and get them engaged in terms of how growth actually makes them feel alive, how growth even gives them more certainty and more variety and more contribution in different stages of your life. So you connected all of that. So it breaks that pattern. So it's not that it's a ceiling, it's that they've been keeping themselves in a ceiling in that mindset.
Well, isn't that an interesting take on that? It's a subconscious ceiling that we've created on our own. Well, society has pressured us into believing there's a ceiling as well. So that's so interesting. There is a some I'm big into statistics. So there's another statistic from Gallup in this year, 2026, which says that the financial impact of escaping the pressure is high. Replacing a leader or manager costs an organization approximately, oh my goodness, 200% of their annual salary in
Yeah.
lost productivity and recruitment costs and then retraining. That's a
Yeah.
lot. So you're absolutely right. It's better for an organization to say, okay, I have a leader, a manager, or even an employee who seems to be checking out a little bit because they're overwhelmed. They want to escape the pressure. Let me just get rid of them. No, no, no. That's going to cost you 200% more. It'll be a lot cheaper to retain that knowledge, skills, and abilities, retain that person just by helping them out a little bit and helping them see that, yes, you are special. We've already figured that part out. But here we want you to be in a loving and caring connection. This is just amazing. Thank you so much for all of this. I wanted to talk to you about I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but and so did you, like the hustling trap.
Yeah.
So many professionals, definitely in the United States, but I think
Yeah.
worldwide, believe that sustainable performance is a myth and high output requires constant stress. Oh, this is exactly what I'm going through right now. So,
All
how do
right.
you help a client, me, transition from anxiety driven performance to confidence driven performance and not get them to either quiet quit or actually quit?
Exactly. So for the stats, you got 200%. I've heard that stat as well. I've actually heard another stat of 400%.
Oh, yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that too, depending
Yeah.
on, I think it's probably different based on what the role is and what the specialized knowledge, skills, and abilities are. But
Yes.
yeah, I definitely see 200 to 400%, and in some cases, even more, because if you can't fill the position in a very specialized role, like a certain kind of engineer, you got to wait for somebody to literally graduate to fill that role, right?
True, 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 true. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
So how
So,
how do you help clients transition from the anxiety driven performance to confidence driven performance?
sure. So what you're talking about, and can I use you as an example? Did I see that?
Absolutely.
Okay. So what you're talking about is hustle culture, basically. And correct me if I'm wrong, you got rewarded for being that way, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I believe you got rewarded by being significant. Wow, Wendy, look at her. Wow, good job. True.
Yep. Absolutely.
Exactly. Also, you got rewarded for being that strong challenger kind of,
Yep.
woman. Is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. So, and that's also the masculinization of women that I find in today's society as well, especially American culture. So, of course, I think it's way better than, women being really submissive in the past. I don't agree with
Mhm.
that. But I think now it's the masculinization of women. So especially, or it's seen a lot with women. Work hard, work, go, 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 go. Wow, good job. And then be that boss babe and be that challenger. So that's why you're feeling like you think it always has to be stressful like that, right?
Yeah, 1000%. I mean, I think you're absolutely right that it is the American culture and probably other cultures too
Yeah.
to squeeze as much as you possibly can out of every employee.
Right, right, and out of yourself too. So I believe in. So let's be clear. If someone goes, "Oh, you just take it easy at your job here," but no, 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 no. I believe in always growing and adding value. I believe in always growing and expanding every day, learning, growing, and contributing, but doing it from a different place. And a different place is one different place is love and connection or love and passion, you could call it. So when you're passionate about what you do, when you love what you do, how are you when you love it?
I
Wendy,
mean,
Wendy, how are
it's
you?
it's it's not like it's stressful, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
almost like it's like, okay, I love I don't know, this part of the role or this part of the task, but I don't like the rest of the stuff that I have to do to get there. So I personally believe if you love what you do, you're going to not quite quit. You're still going to be engaged, but you could still be burnt out.
In what way? So I could just be specific.
I think time wise, because if you love what you do so much and somebody calls you and it's close to the quitting time and you're like, oh, I could help them. It's only going to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour. And you do that over and over again, you kind of like, me, for example, I just want to help people. That's all I want to do is help people. And, it's getting harder and harder to say no because that's my reputation. So there you go. You could coach me on that.
Right now, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I'll do it really fast right now. So before you even said that, I was like, I think she's a helper. I could see that. So there's the helper archetype. You love helping people, and some people are natural helpers, and I think that's beautiful. The pain comes in with the exaggeration of the helper, meaning some people get loving or be significant and get loving connection by, I'm going to put all your needs first and mine last in such a significant way, you can't help but love me.
Mm.
Right? So again, you and many other people have gotten rewarded for that exaggeration. Right? So, and then you even said you're known as that. So you're significant for that. Right? So I believe, so that's where we break the pattern, where we get back to self-love. Self-love doesn't mean talking in the mirror. It means just being yourself, basically. Right? And breaking those patterns and breaking those beliefs. Now, I believe in helping people if that's who you are. And I believe you best help people when your glass is full. So, and I do it myself, I check in, make sure my glass is full, make sure I'm rested, make sure all that stuff. And then I could, boom, and then I could hit it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. My question is, I'm thinking through this as you're talking, is not every leader who is, not every leader is going to accept the help, right? Not every leader is going to say, hey, I need coaching or whatever. But what I want them to know is that if a leader feels stuck, burnt out, lacks confidence in, their ability to do something, and if they don't do anything about it by raising their hand and asking for help, it often ripples through the entire department that they're managing or division or company. So how does a leader's work on their own subconscious alignment actually serve as the most effective tool of increasing the self-drive and engagement of everyone else around them?
That's a great question. So firstly, when people say, I need help, they kind of think of like therapy, I think.
Yes.
Therapy, right? So, I go and tell all my childhood traumas and that stuff. And I'm saying there's a place for that. But I'm saying when people think of that, they think it's going to be all this stuff and they're going to be sad and crying. It's going to be all this hard work and so forth. So I get that. So I wouldn't even call it going for help. It's like a coach. So what I do is coach or consult, but let's call it coach. You want to change your body. You get a personal trainer. That's a coach. You get a nutritionist. That's a coach. You get a basketball coach. That's a coach. That's what it is. They could go in your past. They could do that. And I do that. But there's a difference between living in your past and being, sad about it and crying about it versus getting it, breaking the patterns, and then moving forward. And Michael Jordan had a coach. Everybody has a coach. So I think that's the mindset shift, number one. Number two, so to answer your question, I help out at a group. We break into, there's like at least 100 people there. We break up into groups of like 8, and I'm one of the moderators there. And oftentimes people say to me, Giovanni, you're the best moderator. And we always feel connected when we're with you. And, you ask good questions and we would feel like we're like together. And I hear like, that moderator was bad, that moderator is bad. And I'm going, what am I doing? Or what are they doing? Or what's going on? But someone told me, they go, the leader or the moderator sets the tone more than people notice. Mm-hmm. So if you want to feel fulfilled at what you do, if you want to make a difference, if you want to make more money, if you want to increase performance, if you're the leader, you set the tone more than you realize. So working on your work, if you want to call work on yourself or improvement or just coaching, it's not about you going into your problem. It's on not you. It's have a better, have a more productive uh, or high performance organization, company, nonprofit, whatever it is, and make it really make a real difference and make a lot more money doing it.
Earlier in the session today, went into generations, and from what I understand, and you tell me, that millennials are much more highly receptive to coaching than older generations. In fact, there's some research that shows that they crave it. They crave frequent feedback, mentorship, coaching, and personal development. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. So I figured that out in my first years of my business. I think the generation, let's say 15 up, 16 up, and so forth, they go, "What's this coach?" They're not a professional. So I think the mindset and that days is was more, what credentials do they have? Are they a trained psychologist, therapist, and so forth? It was really based on credentials, university, that kind of stuff, and that stuff is
Okay.
important. I think the millennial generation is more, they're more flexible, and I think it's more about what are the results they give me. Like, mom, going to a coach. Yeah, but what credentials do they have? I don't know, but they're getting me results.
Ah, okay. Yeah. So they're much more focused on task. I've also read that millennials versus, say, we'll just say Gen X and baby boomers, but definitely Gen X, which is what I am. Millennials are motivated by understanding the why behind the task. So
Yeah,
when you tell them, hey, you have to do this, they're not just going to go, okay, let's do, XYZ, push this
right.
button here. They really want to know the why behind it so then they can connect it to their personal values, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So the millennial generation, starting from there, they look for meaning in what they do, their organization, and so forth. So if your team, they're unmotivated, their performance is dropping, sales are dropping, it could be because there's no meaning there. There's no intrinsic meaning for what they do. They're not aligned with their meaning. They look for that. So in the Gen X generation, it was more, you guys are the great generation because you work, you make things happen. You were really independent. It was a lock key generation. Remember lock keys?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But now millennials, it's about meaning. It's about internal drive.
Right. Right. And so what he was referring to with the key is Generation X, we were the first generation for the most part that had all the adults in the family had jobs. And so kids had to come home from school on their own and take care of business, take care of the snacks, the younger siblings, open the door, all of that stuff. And so with Gen X, it kind of started being like you didn't really have a choice but to be independent because there's nobody at the house when you get home from school.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
I mean, that just has considered or continued even more for the other generations, but it hasn't been new to them. Speaking of millennials, though, they're definitely, especially in today, 2026, we have most people in businesses are working remotely. Not every baby boomer or Gen X is comfortable with that, but millennials and the younger generations, they kind of they demand technology. And so, does digital based coaching work?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes and no. So,
Ooh,
yeah, people think it's the same thing, and I try to make it as, same as possible. But no, there's a difference. If you're a top coach or consultant, there's a difference when you come in person. There's at least, someone even said to me on, we were doing in person, and then maybe it was during COVID or something. They said, well, the session was, and then we did virtual, and they said the session was still good, but it was about 70% of the in person, right?
yeah.
It's not just the information. It's really the connection you have. It's the feeling people have in my office, for example. It's that whole environment that makes a
Yeah.
difference. So I think when people
Because
just say, "Oh, I just do virtual," I think that's, you're cheating people.
Yeah, I think a few things I know for me because my business is mostly virtual, but it is also people are distracted. So even if you're the best coach or mentor or trainer or consultant ever, when you're miles away from each other, you're distracted by this wonderful thing called technology that we're using right now. And you just mentioned about like relationships, basically the relational return on investment of personal alignment. You mentioned that alignment improves not just careers, but all types of relationships, but definitely relationships in the business world. So we often ignore the home front though when we're at work. Can you explain how breaking through at a subconscious level helps a professional stop sacrificing their personal life for their business?
Exactly, for sure. So, what we talked about before, people try to be significant to get a loving connection. And how do you get significant, especially in, we call it American culture, North American culture, by achieving, right? So people want to be significant because of what they want is loving connection. And also loving connection could be too scary too, because it goes up and down. Your partner this, your partner that, someone could leave you, you could get bored, whatever. But at least at work, we feel a certain amount of control that we could be significant, we can meet our needs, we can have certainty as well. At home in a relationship, you don't have any like you have influence but no certainty. So I think it's because you get in certain cultures you get rewarded for achieving at work, and then it's sometimes easier if you know how to play the game of
Yeah,
business.
absolutely. I have two more statistics. Work-related stress, obviously, and burnout has a devastating spillover effect. In fact, according to the American Psychological Association in 2025, 36% of workers reported that their personal relationships outside of work have suffered due to job-related mental strain. That's huge. That's way more than a third of your workplace that is saying, hey, we're so burnt out and strained here that it's affecting my home life, which many people will then come to work and just be present, right? The
Yeah.
presenteeism. And
Mhm.
the stat that I found on that was from Gallup. I love Gallup. They said that presenteeism, where people say, yeah, I'm here, but I'm just really just here. I'm not really doing above and beyond. Presenteeism has actually drained an estimated $438 billion from the worldwide economy. Whoa, that's a lot.
Yikes. Yikes.
I,
Yes.
how could your services help somebody with that, with making sure that they're breaking that, that's I don't know, that self leadership, or the loss of self leadership and the loss of self drive.
I love how you said the loss of self leadership. So when I help leaders, I believe everybody could be a leader within themselves. Okay? A leader is someone that goes and knows what they want, knows who they are, knows what they want, and goes in alignment with that. It makes it happen. So that could be a manager, that could be, a team member as well. Whatever it is, it just means you're in alignment with who we are. And I think the stress comes from, as we said before, I think Jeff Bezos said, he goes, stress doesn't come from work. Stress comes from when you hate what you're doing. Basically.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep in mind, folks, somebody could be the best, say, HR manager in the world or the best team leader in the world. But if there's something going on with in the culture of that division, that department, that organization, it's going to destroy even the happiest person's loving connection, their caring connection. So this has all been very, very eye-opening to myself as well, because lately I've been feeling quite burnt out. But I am
Right.
making changes, by the way, and
Good.
making sure that I'm starting to put my personal health and say no at 5 p.m.
Good.
So
Nice.
thank
Good.
you so much for all of this, everybody. We have with us today keynote speaker and leadership strategist from the Greater Toronto Area, Giovanni Maccarrone. How can people connect with you? And are there any resources you recommend for listeners diving into this overall theme?
For sure. So they can find me on LinkedIn. Type in my name. I believe you'll post it somewhere.
Yep.
Type in my name, coach, consultant, Toronto. It'll come up. Also, you could go on Google, do that as well. It goes to my website. You can also see all my reviews and so forth. And we could even set up just a video call to start, just to
Yeah.
understand you, understand what's going on, and then see if it makes sense to go to step two.
I love it. So remember, even if you're not a millennial, you can call for help to
Yes.
help decrease burnout, and then of course, making sure we're improving our self-leadership, our self-drive, and our performance, and hopefully staying with the organization that we are with, or if not, going and finding a job that's going to make us truly happy somewhere else. This has been amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
You're
Hey,
welcome.
everybody,
Thank
I
you.
hope this podcast session has been helpful and beneficial to you. Reach out to either one of us if you need any more help. Take care, everyone.